Okay, so here I am. We have a couple peeps here, Shane and Kim, and they've now committed to joining us at Rewire. And because of that commitment, they're having this kind of, they've locked horns in their relationship. Correct, Shane?
Yes, sir.
You've locked horns in your relationship, and there's love there, but there seems to be this wall. There's like, what's going on here? Should I stay? Should I go? We really want to make this work. There's anxious attachment. There's avoidant. And I was going to ask you, Kim, right?
Okay, that's
I was going to ask you, tell me what you'd like to accomplish. You just shared it with me a little earlier, and I was like, oh, it'd be good to record it. Can you share it with me?
I was saying that I'd like to not have such a strong desire to run, to put my walls up and just be done with it when I feel like I'm overwhelmed. Like, I'm very quick to be like, I don't need any of this. I can do it on my own, and I don't want to be.
Right. So as soon as, in other words, Kim, as soon as you get activated, boom, this fear of engulfment part comes up, and you're like, get me the hell out of here. And you just want to run away. You're like, let's end it. And then, which obviously activates Shane's anxious attachment, which is like, oh my God, I can't make a mistake or else she's going to leave me. I can't say how I feel. I have to hide and suppress myself, because if I overwhelm her, she's going to leave. So I can't, like,
But
Shane,
I do overwhelm her.
yeah. And that, which causes you to become even more anxious and then even more overwhelming, when it causes her to say, fuck this, I want to get the fuck out of here. And then days, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm a fixer. Like, I don't like having tension with anyone, like whether it be a friend, family member, co-worker.
Yeah.
I like to squash it right then and there, put it behind us, get a better understanding of what went wrong.
Yeah.
And that move on, so we can
be back in love.
Yeah, so I can restore that homeostasis between us, like that.
I totally get it. Are you open to some feedback? Tell me if you're open to some feedback. So the fixing part is a trauma response as well. So Kim's got a trauma response of freezing and running. Okay, mine was fighting and running. That was me before I did the work. My wiring was I fight and I flight. Fuck you, I'm out of here. Kim is freeze, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do with these emotions, freeze and run. Yours is fawn. Yours is, I gotta fix.
Right.
I gotta fix, which ironically, destroy, especially as a man, will destroy the polarity between you. All of a sudden, the charge of like erotic friction is gone, because it's like, you know, as a man, if he's fawning, that is the opposite of masculine energy. You know, you got this big, beautiful fucking beard. It doesn't mean how masculine you look, and you could probably kill me with your bare hands. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't fuck with you. Don't get me wrong. I would never fuck with you. However, what that does is, I think that might be even a cover up, if you don't mind me saying, for this part of you that just wants everybody to just get along, and this little mousy type of energy. Am I right?
I've my whole adult youth, I was in the Marine Corps. When I got in the Marine Corps, when I was in the Marine Corps, I went to war. When I got out, I went into law enforcement.
Yep.
And
to serve and protect like a good boy.
And most recently, work overseas as a private security contractor in Baghdad, Iraq. So service has like always been in my blood, and like
totally, that's your superpower, and it's your kryptonite if you don't learn how to regulate it. And so what I'm seeing is, go ahead.
So I got in the Marine Corps in 2014, and I had transition issues, and a lot of Marines I served with, like I don't even I've pretty much dropped my military identity. Like, I think talking about the military, like I don't like doing it, you know.
Yeah.
against people joining the military now.
You've
Like,
broken free from the conditioning. You've now you drank the Kool-Aid at one point,
right.
but now you're out of it. And
I don't
good.
think we should have had any involvement with the Middle East. The only reason I went contracting was because I want to become debt free and
Yes.
like have
You didn't want to be a
reset.
slave to a government that is not that you're not aligned with. I hear you.
Exactly.
I get it.
I don't agree with a lot of stuff that I've done.
We don't have to talk about that, Shane.
Okay.
I'm just going to jump in and lead the fucking conversation. We
Do it.
don't have to go into your politics. That's not what this is about. I'm actually wanting to talk specifically about resolving it, and I get your story and you want to share. I'm just going to jump in. By the way, this is masculine communication with love, because you know that this is like for your greater good. And this type of communication, loving, directive, corrective, is how you're going to help polarize your relationship with your wife. But you got to heal those wounds first.
I'm all about the tough love, and I take constructive criticism well. Perfect.
So I hear you. I hear what's happening. Do I have a firm grasp on understanding you guys, even within this first couple of minutes of meeting you, and where the constraints are?
I think so, yes.
Okay. So what you're going to get at Rewire, and by the way, the weekend workshop starts on Saturday. So you come to the overview experience to practice these embodiment tools, because you're going to learn how to get into the body. You're going to have a couple of weeks of practice it's like kind of basic training, if I can use your military terms, some basic training before we get into the dance of it. Because most people, before they begin this work, the first 3 to 4 months of doing this work is difficult, because you're so used to being in your head and avoiding your feelings. So Kim's challenge will be, she's got a lot of anger from the childhood of being parentified. So let's go back. You were sharing with me earlier, your parents weren't around, Kim. So you had to take care of everybody, take care of the family, right? So there's this little girl that feels angry that she didn't have her needs met. But what happens, Kim, if there is this little girl that's angry, but isn't allowed to be angry because that's going to cause disconnection with parents? What does she do with that anger?
Just keeps it.
Keeps it. And when it comes and invalidates it and gaslights it and judges it. So when the anger comes up for you in today's world, day to day, what do you do with it?
I feel like a lot of times I keep it.
That's right.
But when it comes to him and I can only keep it for so long.
Much. Right. And then it comes explosive. But check this out. Can you see that when the anger comes up and there's a part of you that's judging it, what do you think you're going to do to cope with that judgment?
I really don't know. I don't.
Check out. Dissociate.
Exactly.
Check out, dissociate, and run. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this is your part of the dance that Shane is bringing up. I mean, Shane's got his, as you know, he's got his stuff. But what I'm sharing with you is your inner work that you're dedicated, that if you're wanting to break this cycle, because I mean, you could leave Shane, but then guess what? When the next person that you meet, it's literally going to come up again. And it's like you either evolve through this or you're going to repeat it with the next person. The cool part about it is you're both willing to work on it, as individuals together. That's a really positive if you're both committed to the process itself, to the path. So Rewire will be kind of like that, first step. What you're doing there is you're going to look and find that little girl who's angry. And you're going to give her permission to be angry within a specific container. You're going to spend time with her. You're going to fucking let her rage. You're going to let her express. You're going to let her scream in a pillow. This is what we do in our Cycle Breakers community. We have modules dedicated to releasing all of this pent up anger. Because if you don't, when it comes up, you're going to check out and run instead of being able to be with it and express how you're feeling. I'm feeling really angry right now, Shane. May I share how I'm feeling? I'm feeling really angry. I'm feeling anger, right? Because he's a fix-it guy. If he's feeling judgment from you and you're yelling that anger at him and judging him, it doesn't evoke masculine leadership. He then feels judged and then either submits to you and fawns to you, which isn't attractive, or he gets angrier and he escalates it. Either way, you lose as a wife, as a partner. Does that make sense, Shane?
Yeah, when I'm trying to talk to her through an argument or something, and like just the other day, like we had a pretty nasty breakup. That's why we're at tears right now.
I hear you.
I ain't gonna lie, I was 100% in the wrong. I let my anger get the best of me that day, and I was actually away from the house, so we had a few hours to cool off, and I came back, and I was fine. And then I actually reflected on a lot about what I said. You know, I was fucked up 100%. And she went in the room. I tried like so now talking to her, like physically, giving that physical affirmation, like touching her leg, rubbing her back and stuff. And
she wasn't open to being vulnerable.
Right. And I'm like, just talk to me, like, and we said it's literally the same thing every time. Like we're just tired of it. And we talk about it and we put a Band-Aid on it.
Totally.
And,
so what we're going to be doing is her job in rewiring will be to learn to self-soothe and learn to co-regulate and lean into co-regulating. That's her path. Okay, that because she's like me, I wanted to run. And if I want to create a secure relationship, when I want to run, my job is to pause, to self-regulate, and then lean into chatting and working things through in a calm manner with Diana. Your job in your rewiring, your mission, should you choose to accept it, no therapist, coach, or anybody can do it for you, Shane, will be to use that conflict, what happens within a conflict, to self-soothe, to not be needy and try to get validation from her, but to be able to self-soothe with your own emotions so that you don't need her to soothe you, but you're now showing up as a really strong masculine presence, helping her back into her own heart, her own feelings, her own emotions, maybe her tears, and you can repair that way. Because you're going to have conflict. The question is, how do we shift the wiring so that we can repair much quicker? And that's a skill to be taught. That's a skill you're going to be learning. Are you ready to go all in with learning it?
Yes. Very excited for
awesome. So in the meantime, between now and Rewire, definitely you're coming to the overview experience on Saturday. Your practice will be, Kim, to connect with your angry parts and to express your anger and to direct it. And Shane, yours will be to just listen and not fix, not try to fix, not try to solve, but just try to go, hey, I'm here. Tell me how you're feeling. Tell me what you need. And your challenge will be to learn how to receive it, both of you. Kim, that'll be hard. If you've been fixing everybody all the time, receiving will feel like death to you because it'll be so weird to receive because you've been so responsible for fixing that you've abandoned yourself all these years. So this rewire will be a gift to the younger parts of you. And if you, after, when you registered, make sure you check your email. There's a questionnaire. Be sure to fill that out. And there's a photograph that you need to upload. Make sure you do that today. So we'll see you guys at Rewire. And of course, we'll see you at the overview experience. Are you ready? Is there anything you want to say? What did you receive? I'm going to hear from Shane and then I'll hear from Kim. What did you receive from what I just shared with you?
A lot of what you said is a lot of what I kind of speculated about myself, and her, but it's also nice to hear like it from a professional opinion. And you know, I tell her she's angry a lot all the time, and
Yeah.
and she tells me a lot of things, but we don't really believe it unless you read it somewhere else or you hear it from a medical
Yeah.
professional. Like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe she was right or he was right, you know. And
Well, you guys haven't learned how to have these skills. You haven't learned the skill of relating to one another yet. You just learned from parents who didn't know, and all of your traumas. So you're carrying those around. So the fact that you haven't been able to figure it out, other than you know you love one another, unfortunately, love is not enough. You got to learn how to work with that material that comes up when the two of you are together. Otherwise, love will never be enough. So,
she says that to me all the time.
100%. She's right. And Kim, I'd love to hear from you. What did you receive out of this conversation? I'm glad. Are you glad that we hopped on real quick? Was that helpful?
Honestly, I think just a sense of hopefulness, because I've always felt like this is how I would always be. Like, I always felt like I was never going to have a stable relationship, because I was always looking for the next way out, because I didn't think anything.
You're like me, Kim.
No.
You and I are exactly the same. It was like, I got one foot in and one foot out. And I hope that if you saw the master classes, I helped explain why that is. And there's nothing wrong with you. Just like it wasn't anything wrong with me. It's just I hadn't integrated those fear of engulfment shadows yet.
Make sure you
which
subscribe.
are younger parts of you that just are sick and tired of all the responsibility. And being in a relationship brings you back to all that responsibility from childhood. And you just want to you want freedom.
Yeah.
Get me out of here. And this is where affairs happen. This is where sexting. This is where porn happens. Fantasy comes in of, it's like the younger part of you wanting escape from the duty and the responsibility. That was me, dude. That was me. So I have zero judgment and so much compassion towards all of those parts. And that's why, if hopefully you can see, I'm so passionate about helping people and teaching them how to overcome it. See you guys soon. What is up? If you are finally ready to learn how to take all of these concepts that I share in my content, in my podcasts, in my YouTube videos, my Facebook Lives, and learn how to integrate them and implement them through a series of neural exercises that teach you how to rewire your relationship with trauma, sex, and money, the things that are most argued about in relationship dynamics, you will absolutely love my upcoming 3-day intensive. Click that link below. It's coming up very soon. It is ideal for people who are nerds for neuroscience and want to rewire this conditioning of undeserving, of prosperity, abundance, and healthy sexuality. If we don't get to the conditioning, these unresolved faulty mechanisms play out in relational dynamics, creating insecure attachments, and unconsciously we are pushing prosperity and healthy sexuality away because of this mechanism of undeserving. If you want to learn how to shift it from an embodied perspective, follow the link below, and we'll see you at our next Rewire event coming really soon.